99% of content online when it comes to trading is about how to get funded and how to pass a prop firm challenge. But I have a scary statistic for you. 50% of traders that actually pass and receive a funded account breach the account and never make a single dollar from it. That means that there is something missing in terms of knowledge from traders. Why is it that so many are passing but then failing their funded account and not making a single dollar? And so in today's video, I am going to share 3 things that you need to know as a funded trader to help you avoid entering that 50% of traders that never make a dollar. Number 1, trading a funded account is a completely different skill set than trading a challenge account. I first got funded with FTMO in 2021, and up to that point, my entire trading journey was about how to pass a challenge. And I came to the realization that one of the major shifts that needs to take place when you get a funded account, at least for me, is that you are no longer on the offense. So let me explain. When I was trying to get funded, I always felt that I was on the offense. You have a profit target. In my case, it was 10%. So I was always viewing that 10% profit target and saying to myself, it's not going to get there by its own. So I was on the offense. I was always looking for setups that would allow me to hit that 10% profit target. But once I got funded, there's no longer a profit target. And so I shifted my mindset to think that, okay, now I'm on the defensive. What am I trying to defend myself from? And the answer to that is that I was doing my very best to not lose the account. So when you're taking a challenge, you're on the offense to pass, and then once you get funded, you're on the defensive of trying to not lose the account. And just having that minor mindset shift made a massive difference for me, because it meant that all of a sudden I could allow myself to only focus on A+ setups. Remember, back in 2021, there were time limits on challenges, and so you really had to push the gas in order to get there within 30 days. That is no longer the case. So shifting my mindset to the defensive, I could focus on those A+ setups. I could focus on those setups that only perfectly fit my trading plan, and it made a huge difference for me. And another thing that happened when I shift my mindset from offense to defense and taking A+ setups is that it also allowed me to move up in time frames. Focusing on the higher time frames, the 4-hour and the daily, made a huge difference in my trading because every setup that occurred was stronger. Yes, fewer setups presented themselves, but when they did, I had more trust in them and I knew that they were much more likely to work out. Thirdly, what most prop firms won't tell you is that you really should request a payout when you can. The nature of most traders is that they are greedy. We have seen it time and time again at Lark Funding when traders are up very significant numbers and then they keep trading. They want those 40, 50, 60, 70% payouts, and then they just blow all of the profits that they earned. And so when I shifted my mindset, when I got that funded account, rather than trying to have that one massive payout, I wanted to be trading the account for 12+ months. And this brings us to a really important question that we'll talk about more later on in the video. But you need to ask yourself, what is your goal with this account? Do you want to be trading the account for 12 months and receive 12 payouts on it? Or are you willing to risk losing the account in exchange for potentially receiving one massive payout? It's a very important question to ask yourself. The second thing that I learned when I got my funded account is that a funded account is not a lottery ticket.
This week's Lotto grand prize is worth $1 million.
But that many traders treat it as such. When I first received my funded account, I started imagining, oh man, if I make just 5% a month, I'm going to be making this much money. I can buy this, I can do that, I can go here and there. And before you know it, you are so attached to the funded account before you made a single dollar, you're getting emotional, and it is massively impacting your trading decision. Fortunately, I didn't get too ahead of myself. I didn't blow the account. I went on to receive a payout after my first month of trading of over $8,000, but this is when I got a little bit carried away. I started shopping for watches, for cars. Even though I didn't even want a car, I was customizing them online. I'm sure we have all been there. And this again leads to the attachment of that account. Instead of continuing to focus on the process and all of the things that helped me get to that funded account phase of my trading journey, I started focusing on completely different things that were not going to help my trading at all. So I got carried away. I removed myself from the process that had led to my success, and things spiraled shortly thereafter. And this is what we see so many traders do, treating that funded account like a lottery ticket and thinking that one payout means that you can receive this every single week, every second week, and every single month, depending on the payout frequency. We recently had one trader on a $10,000 account, so not a massive account, but they made 40%, 50%. Then they brought the account all the way up to an 80% gain. They were up $8,000 on a $10,000 account, which is just unbelievable. But then they kept trading it and it dropped all the way down to 40%. So they lost 50% of their gains, or 30%. Anyways, they received a $5,000 payout, which is phenomenal. It's one of the largest payouts we've ever processed on a $10,000 account. It's a 50% gain. But then they continued to trade it and they then lost the account shortly after that. And it brings us back to the question that I asked before, which is really the main part of this video. How do you want to treat your funded account? What is it that you want? Do you want to risk it and gamble it away to potentially make a huge payout of 50%? Or do you want to be a risk managed trader and get multiple payouts and eventually hit that 50% mark, but just over multiple payouts, right? What if you have 10 payouts that equal a 50% gain on the account versus just one where you got a 50-50 chance of losing it? I hope that makes sense. The third part of this whole process is asking yourself, what is it that you actually want? This combines everything that we have discussed prior, and it seems simple, but it's something that I don't think a lot of traders do, because it's something that I didn't do for the longest time. Charlie Munger has this great line: reverse engineering your success. Ask yourself what your goal is and then just work backwards, reverse engineer it. So you picture exactly what it is that you want, and then if you were coaching yourself, what is it that you would tell yourself to do? And so combining all of these together, when I became a funded trader, what I quickly realized was that if I wanted to make more money, which is the goal of all traders, I needed more capital rather than risking more. This is something that we see at Lark Funding not a lot of traders do. They get that first 100K funded account, and rather than risking 1%, 0.5% on that account, they just go all in and then they lose it. But you have the skill set, you passed your first challenge, so why not take another and another and another? There's a handful of traders that we see on Twitter that have done exactly this. They have $1 million of funded accounts under their name. They risk small amounts. They focus on A+ setups, and that is what stops them from losing those accounts, and that is what allows them to actually make a consistent amount of money from the market. At the end of the day, are you a trader or are you a gambler? Are you in this for the long term or the short term? What is your actual goal? Reverse engineer it. If you want to make 6 figures, how much can you make a month? Then how much capital do you need behind you to do it? Trading is a long-term game, and only those that treat it as such will be successful. Can be done if you keep these 3 things in mind. That was a bit of a speech, a bit of a ramble, but I hope it was somewhat cohesive. Let us know if you have any comments down below. We'll get to all of them. If you made it this far, we appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one, and until then, peace.